the last video, I finished carving the key blocks. Now I'm going to make all the transfer sheets so that I can start carving the color blocks. Right now I'm cutting some cardstock paper to size. It's not an exact size, I just use the woodblock as a point of reference, but I'm pretty much just trying to make them a little smaller so that it's easier when it comes to printing. Now you'll see me laying out some printer paper. This is the paper that will actually be printed on once we get to that stage. I just want it to be about the same size as the cardstock paper. Here you'll see me looking really closely at the paper. What I'm trying to do is to get a really good idea of which corner is the cleanest. This will be really important when it comes to laying the paper into the registration marks. I don't want to mess up this stage because it could carry over to the final print if I do. I'm also just going to mark them with a pencil so that it's easy to remember for the future. I'm also making a small mark on the other side so I don't mess up the next step. Now it's time for me to glue the printer paper to the cardstock paper. I'm using a light repositionable glue so it doesn't stick once it's actually on the block. The main purpose of the cardstock paper is to keep it from wrinkling or stretching over time, and also, once I'm actually printing, it'll be easier to lay down the paper on the block. As you'll see, I'm going to make 8 total transfer sheets. The transfer sheets are all done, but I'm also setting aside some nice paper so I can print it at the same time. This video I wanted to show a little bit about how I mix colors. I use watercolor tubes for my pigments, and I usually mix this with just water and sumi. It's really just playing around, as you'll see. The colors I'm using here are not the final colors I'll use for the print, but I am saving them in plastic capsules so that in the future when I'm testing, I don't have to completely remix everything again. As you can see, the dark red color on the left is already mixed up. Right now I'm making a dark gray, a dark green, and a pink color. Like I said, these aren't the final colors for the print, but they're close enough so that during testing, I'm not worried about saturating the block with the wrong color. Now it's time for me to start printing the transfer sheets. To start, I'll show some clips of me preparing the block and then taking the first impression. Then I'll speed up the video in order to save time on the rest of the impressions. At the end, I'll show you what the final print looks like. The later impressions usually look better anyway, and I'm also going to be doing the last few on the nicer paper. When I'm first putting the water and pigment on the blocks, I need to give them some time to absorb the water. I've cut the clip up to save some time, but in between I'm sitting there and letting it soak for a few minutes. I printed the dark gray block first because with the border it'll kind of give me an idea of how the registration is going. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I'm gonna edit each of these colors the same way, so here I am preparing the green block now. Since the process for each block is pretty much the same, I'm not gonna talk as much from here out. You will be able to see the layers starting to build up as I go through the prints. Seeing the layers come together like this is always one of the most satisfying parts for me. The next two blocks have a smaller area to print, so the brushing and rubbing went by pretty quickly. I actually messed up one of the nicer copies here, but luckily the one I've been showing you is still in good shape. This is the last block to print, and here I'm really excited about finishing. This is the first time I'd see all 4 layers together on one sheet of paper. At this point, I've finished all the transfer sheets, and you can now see what the print looks like with just the key lines. In the future, I will start working on the color blocks for this print, which I'm super excited about. But for now, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and here's a higher quality picture of the final key lines.